Okay, everybody, take two. Let's see if this one works. I don't know what's going on. This is weird. I'll turn the banner off. And it looks good on my end. I have one person in here. People are looking for me. I'm sorry I can't answer your questions because it's too hard for me to do. Oh, 7. People are finding me, so that's a good sign. All right, let's see what, I don't know what happened. That's weird. So let me get, I'm going to see if I can find me on my tablet. Yeah, right here. Have no idea. Yippee! Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hi. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I found you. Yay! Thank you. Yeah, people have been asking me. Let's see if there's any other comments here I need to answer. Just a second. So I apologize for the inconvenience. Sometimes things are weird. So I had a couple of people asking me how to find me, and I couldn't find myself. So is everybody? Oh, we got 10 people now. We're doing good. I found you too. Hi, Cindy. Yay. So some of you, I'm still on. Let me get this turned up a second here. Oh, let me just turn this down. Okay. Yay. People are finding me. Woohoo. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I have no idea what happened. I just started and nothing started on my end either. I couldn't get on. So we're here now. Yay. So now we can start. So we'll have a night. We'll still have a class. And so for some of you, I'm still not seeing your names on StreamYard. Like it just says Facebook user. So if you don't mind me seeing your name when you comment, I have it on my tablet over here, but when you get done watching the video, if you go back in again a few minutes later, there's a little link at the top of the video where you can tell me that it's okay to see your name. Okay. So if you do that, that helps me because then I can see people's names on both screens. Okay. So you just have to do it one time and it'll let your names come through. So when we do this on, oh, yay, now we got 17. Wow, we're doing all kinds of people now. Hi, everybody. Everybody's finding me. Oh, somebody said they just can't find me. Just a second. Oh, she said she just got me. All right, let's see. I'm trying to answer the text, too, so give me a minute here, guys. Sorry about that. I think people are finding me now. I just told everyone to refresh. Okay, so is everybody finding me? Hi, Jan. Jackie here. Okay, cool. Jackie found me. Chris found me. There was a couple people that were asking. Let me see if I can find the text on my phone that people were asking me that they couldn't find me. Jan found me finally. Okay, so Jan's found me. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I have no idea. Something just didn't go through. It's weird. I had a little trouble with the internet, but finally did. Okay, so who said that? That they couldn't find me, but they finally did. So, Jan, cool. Okay. All right. So everybody's here. All right. Awesome. So we're going to do a little bit of work with Design Center. That's the brother version. Babylock's version is IQ Designer. And I really love working in here. It's really fun. And you can do a lot of stuff with it right in the machine. So you're basically digitizing in your machine. And I did this little pillow that we're going to do. This little pillow that we're going to do. I did actually quite a few years ago, and I redid it a little bit. And I also wanted to show you the difference in it. After doing it a different way, I think the way that I did it this time gives you a better result. So I'm going to try to show you. So this is what we're going to do. This is what was my original sample. I love you to the moon and back. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to make all this pretty decorative fill around the outside edge, and then how to do the letters in here. Okay. In Design Center. And then I did it again, and I made more of a baby version of it. So it's lighter colored and stuff. It's kind of pink and green, light green. Okay, but I wanted to show you, when I get the camera down here, I'm going to show you a little closer up the difference in the way I did them. So the original way I did this when I did this one, the original one that we did probably in Dream Club, it's been quite maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Not all of the machines, but the Dream Machines, Destinies, Luminaire, and Solaris's have this scanning pad. And also the, you probably can't see the letters, sorry. There's a little bit of a glare tonight. But they have a scanning pad that goes in the machine, and then the machine will scan the picture. So you can just take a picture and scan it, which is one way of doing this. And that's how I did it originally. Tonight, we're going to do another way. So those 4 machines have the scanning ability. Now, some of the new machines that have Design Center do not have the scanning ability with the machine having a camera in it. They have another way of doing it. And then they can also do it the way I'm going to do it tonight. And I find this works the best for me because I wanted to show you the difference. So anyway, we're not going to use the scanning pad tonight. Okay. The way we're going to do this is we're going to bring in the design or the JPEG image that we're going to use, this picture. We're going to bring this in on a USB stick. It's a USB. On a USB, it's a JPEG that I gave you in the files. So you have to go to the group, go to Sew Along with Jan. The very top post is where all the Dropbox files are, okay? And it's going to be in the Sew Along with Jan ones, and it's called I Love You to the Moon and Back. That's where all the files are, okay? So we're not going to use, I just wanted to show this to you, but we're not going to use this tonight because I want to show you another way to do this. There's actually a third way, but I'm not going to show you that one tonight because not everybody can do that one. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch my camera here. So sorry for the delay. Everybody's finding us. That's awesome. So we haven't started yet, everybody. If you were having trouble, I'm sorry. There must have been a problem, a connection problem with StreamYard to Sew Along with Jan. I don't know what happened, but something happened. So anyway, we're here now. All right, so let me go ahead and get the camera turned over here. I may need to readjust this a little. I apologize. I've moved it a couple of times. You get my microphone switched over. Okay, can everybody still hear me all right? Okay. So everybody's still hearing me all right? So this is, I like to do this with a tripod because it's easier to see the screen if I don't have to hold the microphone arm down or the camera arm down. So what I want to show you first is my first sample. Well, yeah, Shannon, sorry. The first one never came through to Facebook. I don't know why. I started and then I ended and then I'm back again. So we haven't started at all. So you're not late at all. So I'm sorry, guys. This was just this was weird. I have no idea what happened. So I'm glad people are finding me. It looks like Marianne, you got here. All right. So I wanted to show you, this is my original, and hopefully I kind of have to work between my legs with this thing, but I wanted to show you up close. So let me kind of hold this up close and see if you can see. There's a pretty good shot of it. So you can see the lettering on here. And this was really good. I thought this was really pretty good. Okay, so this was the original sample I made maybe 4 or 5 years ago. This was done by scanning it in the machine. Okay. This is the new one that I just made by using the USB and bringing in a JPEG. Now, can you see the difference in the way the letters look? Can you see how much smoother these letters are? I just couldn't get over how much nicer this looked. And I think the reason being is that the JPEG image was scanned on my printer. Okay, huge difference, don't you think? Yeah, let me show you the other one again. I just thought huge difference. Okay, so can you see how much these are? They look nice, but it's more, you know, it's more ragged looking. And then this is the one that I just finished. And I did this one with the JPEG image off of the USB stick. So the third way of doing this, so like I said, I don't scan much anymore because I scanned it on my printer and put it in on a USB stick then. What size is the pillow? The pillow is 12 by 12, Cindy. but you could take the whole thing. I gave you the PES files, so you could just bring the whole thing down so that it would be 10 by 10 and it would fit in your machine. And you can get 10 by 10 pillows too. So you just have to resize it, but it'll work for you. You can get it to small enough by just resizing it because you have software you can resize it. Okay, so I think now from now on, this is how I'm going to do these, is because my printer has a really good scanner on it. And I brought that image in that way, and it seems like it really works better. And so I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. The third way of doing this, we're going to show you Wednesday. Oh, you have a Stellaire now, Cindy? How exciting. So you can do this exactly the way I'm going to do this. And just by the way, on Wednesday, we're going to be doing the app for the Stellaire. That's going to show you how to do the third way. Okay. So the new machines, the Stellaire and the, well, Stellaires and then the Altair Meridian are the baby locks. They have an app. And you can actually take pictures with your phone right into the app and then send it to the machine, which is another way. However, my phone doesn't take very good pictures. So I don't know that that's the best way to do this. So what I'm doing now is off the USB stick. I think it works with everyone. So it works with the older machines, the Dream Machines, the Destinies. It works with the Luminaires, the Solarises. It works with the Altairs, the Meridians, and the Stellaires. So this to me is the best way because my printer has a really good scanner. Okay, so I think that might be an option for everyone. The second, I'm gonna tell there's one other person that can't find me yet. Refresh your page on Facebook. I have people that are still looking for me, so if I can help people, I will. Okay. Whoops. Now I lost myself again. Okay. It came with an iPod. Oh, you got an iPod, Cindy? That's awesome. So the iPod will work the same way, and those actually take good pictures. But we're gonna show you the app business on Wednesday. So that's going to be on Shields Live. I've been playing with that app, and it's actually not bad. I'm getting kind of the hang of it now. So I'm actually kind of proud of myself. I've always been very intimidated by it, and I actually kind of like it now. So we will play with that on Wednesday. And there's another app. We're going to do 2 apps that day. So, okay. So let's get started with this. I've got my USB. Okay. I've got my picture on here, and I've got that in the top USB. Now, I don't work very well with my finger on the screen, so I use a mouse. So I've got a mouse plugged in, okay, to my second USB, and I would recommend a mouse, and it has to be wired. Do not buy a wireless mouse. It does not work. You need to have this is a little cheapy $7 mouse I got at Walmart, okay? That'll work with any of the machines. And this is a little travel mouse. I like it because it's really small and it fits in the pocket of my bag. Okay, so that's what I'm using to move around on the screen. Okay, so let me just close this up here. And let's see, I want to make sure you can see me okay. I always have to work around all these legs and everything, so get the camera situated here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is, and I also gave you the instructions, so the instructions are in that same file. You can print these off, and it also has the sewing instructions, okay? All right. So I am going to first, I've got the USB, in here, and I've got my picture on there. So that's the first thing I said. And then I'm going to set my hoop size to 8 by 12. I like to have a visual on my screen when I'm working in Design Center, so I know how big my hoop actually is. So it just gives me a better idea of how big I can go. So I'm going to go to page, I can't remember what page it's on. I think it's on page 8 on my machine. And it might be 9 for, it's either 7 or 8 or 8 or 9 for the Dream Machines. So, but I have a frame size here, and I'm going to make sure it's set to 8 by 12 because that's the hoop I know that I'm going to be using with this. Okay. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to click OK down here at the bottom. You probably can't see it. Sorry, the screen, to get close enough, you can't see the whole screen. It's kind of long. So here's OK. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my design center. Now I have a brother, so mine's Mind Design Center. And those of you with the brother or with the baby locks, it'll say IQ Designer. Okay, so same thing. So just open up my design center, IQ Designer. And before I start anything, I like to set up my properties because this is just going to be red work. So it's going to be a line. And I'm going to set up then my line properties first. So my line properties, oh, good. The gal that couldn't find us found me. Okay, so I'm going to go up to my line properties, which is up here at the top. Okay, most of the machines will allow you to press this button. If it doesn't, this set of buttons here is for the lines, these 5 buttons here, and these 5 buttons here are for the fills. If your machine doesn't allow you to press here to get here, try pressing the button that looks like the piece of paper. Yes, I scanned it to my computer. Actually, I lied. I actually didn't. So let me explain to you how I got the picture. The picture was a PDF file. Okay, so the original picture of the little I love you to the moon and back. Okay, this was a PDF file. And what I did is I have a little free program called Bullzip, Bullzip, and I can create JPEGs from a PDF file. And that's actually how I got it. So it's a very good file. I didn't even scan it. I actually made it into a JPEG through that PDF file. So I just basically resaved it. So that is a little program that's very useful. So if you don't have it, it's called Bullzip PDF Printer. It's very handy. It comes in handy, and this is how I use it a lot for this too, to make PDFs into JPEGs. So that's another thing. That's actually how I did it. Okay. All right. So if you can't choose this button here to get to the properties, go down to the piece of paper. Okay, so some of the machines won't let you hit this button. Some of them you have to hit this one instead. But I can hit the big one at the top. So I'm going to hit that first. So I like to do this before I start. I'm going to do my line properties. I want it to be a triple stitch. So I'm going to choose this one here. This is a triple stitch. There's other line properties here, as you can see. Okay. So I'm going to use the triple stitch because I wanted it to be like a triple stitch or a bean stitch for my red work. And then I'm just going to choose a color. Let's just choose red because it's easy to see on the screen. Okay. And then OK is right down here. I don't know if you can quite see it on the screen, but it's right here. I'm going to click OK. So now you can see that those are the properties now right here. So before I started anything, I set up what I wanted my properties to be. So now all we have to do is get that picture in here. So it's on my USB stick over here. Hopefully it's still in there. Okay. And to do that, we're going to go to the scan button. It looks like a leaf with an arrow. Some of the machines, it's in a slightly different area. And I wanted this to be a line design. So there's different options here, and I'm going to do a line design. Okay. And since I see my machine scan, so I could hit the scan. Okay. But I'm going to get it off my USB. So my USB is right here, and I'm going to click on that first. And then here's my JPEG. It was called Moon and Back. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and it takes a minute, and it'll come up on the side over here. And then I'm going to set it. And then if you need to crop it, you can. You know, it could come in just a little bit, maybe. You know, this is actually pretty clean. So we could, whoop, I kind of overshot that one a little bit. There we go. You have to be a little careful when you're cropping. There we go. All right, so it could come in just a little bit. Let's see. I think I'll leave it about there. That looks good. And then if you look, notice at the bottom, this is the line properties that we chose earlier. Oops, let me tip this down just a little bit. Can you see down here at the bottom how here's the line properties we chose earlier. Okay. And I'm going to click OK. And it's going to let me look at my results. Okay. So here's the results. And the original view was here. So I can click on this tab up here and it can see me what it showed. That's the picture. And here's what the results were. Doesn't look bad. Looks pretty good. Okay. Because it traced it. And I'm pretty happy with that. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and hit set. Okay. So here's my design that I have created and traced from that picture. And I just set it on my screen. All right. So see how easy that was. And I have to say, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to also hide. I think you can see that. I'm going to hide the backdrop so I don't have the picture behind it. I want to just hide it. So this little slider thing, some of the machines, it's on the bottom. Just click so that it's all the way to the left, and then you can't see the background anymore. Yes, yes, it will. Whoever asked about that working on yes, Marcia, it will. You can do this on the Dream Machines as well. That's why I chose this method, because everybody can do the same method. Otherwise, there's 3 different methods, and some of the machines do one, and some of the machines do the other 2, and they all do this one. So that's why I chose this. So yes. And I think it's better because you'll be able to see this in this next step. I left this step in because when I scanned it, I remember I had to go get the eraser key. So the eraser is here. Okay. And I can choose the different tips, and there's different sizes. There's a round tip and a square tip. And I'm just going to get one that's about 10. That's kind of a nice medium size. And then I'm going to click OK. And let's bring this up bigger on the screen, because when you look at this, it's going to look pretty clean on I'm going to go up to like 200%. I can even go up to 400%. And if I scroll around on this, I don't think when I made that new sample, I don't think I even changed a thing. I just left it alone. Everything looked really clean. Now there's one little weirdo place here. So I could take my eraser, and I could just there's like a little point that was sticking out that looked a little funny. So I could take that off. But whoops, second here. I think I just erased something. There we go. By accident. But I went around here, and this looked really clean. And that's the one thing that I have to say with this method, with the JPEG and the USB. I did not have to clean up my artwork, because with the old way, I really, really had to do a lot of cleanup. I spent a lot of time cleaning up here. And this actually looks really good. There was just one little spot right over here that I just cleaned up just a little bit. And that's all I did. And I don't even know that I'd have to, because I'm up 400%, and you can't see it when you look here. Okay. So that's step 7 is, you might need to do a little cleanup here. And I have to do cleanup, with most of the stuff that I scan, but this seems to be a method that requires much less cleanup. Okay. All right. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. Looks good. I am going to select this whole unit. Okay. So we need to get this selected. And in order to do that in Design Center, you got to go down here to the selection tool. It looks like a square that's hash marks. Okay. And then I'm going to choose the square here, because that's what usually works the best for me. And I'm just going to draw a square around the whole thing. Okay. And it's going to select all of that. Now, for those of you with the Dream Machines, just so you know, when you do that, it is going to select the air around the outside edge. If you happen to be selecting a lot of extra air, it will do that. Most of the newer machines snap in. See how this snapped in? That the little red selection line snapped in too. So that's good that it does that. All right. So I think at this point, I want to size it. I got it selected. Now my size button is active. Like when it wasn't selected, if I deselect it, see how my size button is gray now. So you have to have it selected in order to do anything. So let's just select everything here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to size. I'm going to size the design so that it fits inside the 8x12 hoop area with a little space on each side. So if you look here, it is pretty close. Remember, we put our 8x12 hoop here. It's a little close for me. So what I'm going to do is let's just bring it down a little bit. I didn't put a specific, I did not put a specific size. I just brought it in so that it gave me just a little bit of space around the outside edge. Just brought it down a little bit. And I want to leave it in the center, but I think that it's getting better. I think that'll be okay. Let's see, make sure it's centered. But I just need a little bit of space around the outside edge. It's still not a ton, so let's just do a little bit more. I'll just select it one more time. I didn't do a specific size. I just made it a little smaller. So we just want to have a little space. Okay. Because the 8x8 hoop only is about 7.8 inches wide. So you don't want it to be like the full width because then it's going to give you no wiggle room. And it's still pretty good size. So let's see what it is here. Might still need to bring it down just a hair more. Got to get it selected again. 7.7. So yeah, it could come down a little bit more. We'll just bring it down just a little bit more. I'm just clicking the aspect ratio button here so that it comes down in aspect ratio. There we go. Then we'll have a little space on either side. I think we'll be okay there. I think that'll work. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. I think I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to go to the next. I have to make sure I don't miss a step here. Draw the box around, size it, click on the open space. Okay, now we're going to go to the line properties. So when I did this pillow, you can see that there's like this decorative stitch at the top and at the bottom. Okay, and those are those are going to be like the top and bottom border, and then we're going to put some side borders on. Okay, so when I did this originally, I couldn't do this way, and so I actually rewrote all these directions because I thought, oh my gosh, I can do it a different way now. So it's really awesome. So I'm going to go back up to my line properties again up here because we need something to make that square at the top. Okay, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to choose the no sew option. This option didn't used to be in here, and I can not sew something, but I can still use it as like a placeholder. So I'm going to choose that and choose OK. And I'm going to go to the stamp key, and I need a square. So I'm going to go to the stamp key, which looks like a square and a circle. And this is where like the shapes are. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to get an outline, which is in the first tab. Second tab is the fills. And the third tab is a fill and an outline. I just want an outline. And I'm going to choose this square. Okay. And I'm going to click OK. All right. So now I'm going to take this square and I'm going to size it to fit around the design. And I don't have any specific sizes. So that square's chosen. See, it's red. And I'm going to go down here to size. And we're just going to squeeze it out here. And again, we need to stay in that 8x12 hoop, okay? So we're just going to squeeze it out. And then I'm going to maybe move it up just a little bit because I'm cutting off my little heart down here. So it needs to be a little taller. There we go. So I'm just putting the square, and remember, this is not going to sew. This is just a placeholder. And I'm going to click OK. So I just made it just past the design. And I think it's still, it might be a little bit in a second. It might be just a little bit wider yet. Just a second. Make it just a little wider. There we go. Okay. So it's just past the design, and it's just above and below the design. Okay. So we just need a placeholder. So I'm going to turn the page here. Try not to miss any steps. Sometimes I get excited and I miss steps. Okay. Okay. And this is what was different. So I redid these instructions. So I got this no sew line in here. It's just a line as a placeholder. So I can go back to the shape key, and I can go up to my hoops. So there's like, this is stamps. These are like other kinds of shapes, and this is the hoop sizes. So I can use that hoop size, because we know it's 8 by 12, right? I can choose my 8 by 12 hoop, right? Which I did. And then I can click OK. Now I can go to my fill properties, because I want the top and the bottom of my hoop to be filled with that pretty decorative stitch. So I'm going to go to the fill properties. If this button doesn't work on your machine, try the one with, looks like the piece of paper in that same area. And I'm going to go to the decorative fills this time, these. And I'm going to select. And I'm going to use fill number 1. I thought this was really pretty. It was kind of a pretty kind of leafy design. So I thought I'd use that one. And there's other ones. Now I've got a bunch, depending on the machine you have, it'll vary how many you have. I've got 40, but some of the machines don't have as many. So just, if there's another one you like, choose that. I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to pick like a gray color down here so I can see it. Okay. And I'm going to click OK. Now we need to put our fills in the top and the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is I need my paint pot. So I'm going to grab a little paint pot in the fills. This is still the fills, and here's our pretty decorative fill. I'm going to grab the paint pot, and I'm going to touch the top, and I'm going to touch the bottom. And look, it didn't fill in around my design. I didn't want it to be around my design exactly. I wanted it to be straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So that placeholder kept that in there. Okay. All right. So I think we're ready now to do some settings. So now we need to do some settings here. I'm going to click the next button at the bottom. Hopefully you can see that. So here's the next button. And these buttons are, this is like the selection area. And I want to only have to do this one time. So the first thing that was selected was one of the last things I did. So this is the decorative fill. So I have 2 of those, and I don't want to have to change the settings twice. So if I click on this little link button, all of the fills of that type will be linked together so that I only have to change my settings once. So I'm going to click the link button. So then it's going to change the settings for both of those. Okay. And I'm going to leave it at 100%. I thought that was good. This is the size, so you can make it bigger or smaller. The second one is the degree of angle, so you can change it, the angle of it. On this particular one, it's defaulted at off. Some of the machines it defaults as on, just so you know. I want the outline to be on this time. And I'll show you, because see, there's a line right here. I want this line straight across here. So it looks like a break on the pillow. See where it's straight right here? That's the outline. So I want that outline on. Make sure I didn't lose my place here. Just a second. I have a lot of words on this paper, so they're quite similar to each other. So I always have to make sure I don't miss something. Okay. So I think I'm happy with that. I want the outline on. I'm going to click OK down here. Now, this thickness button is at the bottom. There's a couple of buttons here that the Dream Machines and the Meridians and the Stellaires don't have. And I don't think they have this one either. This is a newer button they put on the Luminaire. It might possibly be on the Stellaire, but without seeing it, I couldn't tell you. But this is for thickness. And I like my the decorative stitches. I like them to be not be so dense, so they're a little bit less thick. So I usually make them thinner like this. So there's a thicker, and a thinner. Okay. So I usually use the thinner. So I'm going to change it to thinner and click OK. And at this point, I am ready to, oh, well, now I got to do some stuff with the straight stitches. So the first thing I need to do, and I learned to digitize in millimeters, so I have a really hard time digitizing in inches. So I'm going to go up here to the settings. So if you give me a second, I'll pull this up just a little bit. And the settings page is right here. It looks like a piece of paper with the corner turned down. And I am going to go to page, I think it's 9 on the Luminaire. It might be 8 on the Dream Machine. I'm going to go to from inches to millimeters, because for the next part, I need to know what I'm doing. I'm just going to click OK. And we may go back again. And at this point, you know, we've got the decorative things selected. At this point, I need to use my arrows until I get to my runs. So remember, you just use these little arrows here, okay? That until you get to your run stitches that we made the design in the center with. And then we can link those items together so that all of these will be selected and we can change all of the settings at the same time. So I find that very useful. My run pitch right now is at 2, which is very, very short. You could leave it there. It would sew out fine. I usually make mine just a little bit bigger at 2.5 because then it's not quite as such a short stitch, and it's a triple stitch. So the 2.0, sometimes I need it that way, but for it to be nice and smooth. But you can see, I'll put this up in the front of the camera again. You can see how smooth this looks at 2.5, and it's just a little bit bigger. So it doesn't take quite so long to stitch, okay? So I did it at 2.5. I'm good with that. Oops, I lost my mouse. And I'm going to click OK. Come on. Oops. All right. So there is, it's thinking and setting those all up. Okay. So we've got all of those straight stitches, or those triple stitches we made, all at the same setting of 2.5 millimeters. So these are basically your stitches, your stitch settings, you know, your run pitch, your how dense they are. These are all going to be in here, and they're all in software too. Sometimes they're just called something different. Okay. All right. So I think I'm happy with that. It looks pretty good. I'm going to click set down here. And I'm going to click OK. Now, if you have the Dream Machines, you might have a preview button here. And I think maybe the Stellaire has it too. You just have an extra screen. This one automatically previews, so you don't, there's just that screen's out of here. So it's going to be very similar. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to go back up to my settings, and I'm going to go back to inches. It's on my page 8. Nope, it's on my page 9. Sorry, hit the wrong button. There we go. Go back to inches. Okay. So, change back to inches. Got that. Let's see. Change back to inches. Okay, now we're ready. Oh, well, gosh, this looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? This is the embroidery end of the machine. So now we're like ready to hit the embroidery button. So we're ready to sew this out already. That was easy, wasn't it? So we got it all ready. It's ready to sew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the embroidery. I'm going to click embroidery. And we need to do one more thing. I'm going to put a basting stitch in here. So when I go to sew it, there'll be a basting stitch first. That's going to baste my batting and my fabric down to my stabilizer. So we can just add that in the machine. But I want to make sure that my basting distance is like right on top of the outside of my pillow. So I'm going to run up here again to the settings page. And I think it was on, let's see, the basting stitch on this one is, it's slightly different on each machine. Oh, mine's on page 9. So I would guess that the Dream Machine Luminaires, maybe the Stellaires, maybe on 8 or 9. They're going to be close. So it says embroidery basting distance. Okay. I want it set to 0. So in other words, it's going to put the basting along the outside edge of my design. So I'm going to leave it at 0. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go to layout. The Dream Machines are going to say edit up here. So I'm going to click this button, and this is the basting stitch. It's the little box, looks like a little square with the flower in it. I'm just going to click that key, and it's going to put a basting stitch all the way around my design, and that will sew first. Okay, just hit the base key, and then I'm going to close the layout. So see, now I have 3 things up here. I have my basting box, then I have my decorative fill along the top and bottom, and then I have my words and my moon and my stars. Okay, and now I'm just going to save this. So I'm going to click memory down here, and I'm just going to save this. You can save it back to your USB if you want to. I'm just going to save mine in my machine. So I'm just going to click the machine button and save it in the machine. So there's the first part of our design. Wasn't that easy? So now we got to do the sides. So this is the center panel part, the part that's in here. Wish this was further away. So this is the center panel, and this is the part we just did from here to here. Okay. So now we're going to do these little side panels, because the pillow is only like 8 inches wide here. So we need it to be 12, because this is like a 12 by 12 pillow form that you use. So we needed to add a couple of inches on each side to get it to work out. So if you give me a second, I just need to turn my page. So we're going to build the side panels. Now the side panels, we're just going to build from scratch. So we don't have any pictures or anything we have to bring in. We're just going to build them from scratch in Design Center or IQ Designer. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to go back home. Remember, I saved this, so I know it's saved, ready to go. I'm just going to go back to the home button. I just hit my home button up here, and I'm going to go down to my Design Center again. And this time we're just going to make our edges. So I'm going to go to the shape key, because I need a rectangle, because it's kind of rectangular shaped. So the shape key is right here. It looks like a circle and a square. I want a fill this time, because remember that those have the little decorative fill in it. These are decorative fills. So these are going to be fills, not outlines. Okay. So I'm going to use actually the second tab this time. This one here is the fills. So I'm just going to click on there. And then I want a square. And I'm going to click OK. So there's my square. Well, it's not the right size. So this one, I am going to give you some sizes. Okay. So I kind of looked at my other design, and my other design, let's go look at that real quick. We might just do that real quick before we finish here. Let me just go back and we'll start again. But I wanted to look at that other design to see about how long it was. Okay, so let's just bring it up and see. It says 11.6. So I just kind of looked at the size of my first part. So I knew about how long it was. So it's 11.6 inches long. Okay, so keep that in mind. We'll just go back and we'll go back to Design Center. Go back to the Shape tool, to the Fill tab, and then we're going to use the square. And I knew I needed about 2 inches, because remember it's about 8 inches. So I need about 2 inches on each side. So I'm going to make my rectangle. Click OK first. I'm going to make my rectangle. We need to size it to, I'm going to get the size button here. And then I'm going to size it to 2 inches wide. So I'm going to squish it in. So we need it to be about 2 inches wide. Okay. And then we need it to be 11.6 inches long. So I'm just going to pull it out to 11.6. See how we do here. And they should, if you've used it in the 8x12 hoop, you know, everybody's was going to be about the same size. So, okay, so 11.6. So there's my 2 inches by 11.6. Okay. Think I'm good with that. We'll click OK. So we got that. Now we're going to take the fill properties. Again, this is the fill properties here, the second set of buttons. And if you can't touch this one, you can touch the piece of paper. So I'm just going to touch the fill properties. I'm going to go into my decorative fills again. I'm going to select the decorative fills, hit the select button, and then I'm going to go get that same design, that first one that I liked, and click OK. Go back and get the gray again, and OK. And then I'm going to go get my paint pot. So the little paint pot, that's the fill tool. And I'm just going to touch the rectangle. And then I've got those pretty fills in that rectangle. Okay. So now we're going to click next. We got one done. We're going to click next. And I'm going to check all my settings, and I'm going to make sure I use the same settings I did on the other one. So this one's 100%, 0 for the angle. I'm going to turn on my outline again. And then I'm going to use the thickness, the thinner one. And then click OK. Okay. Then I'm ready to set it. So here's one of my sides. So we're just going to hit set and OK. And look, we're back on the sewing side of the machine again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit edit. And I need 2 of these. So I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to use the duplicate button right here. So duplicate. So I have 2 triangles. I am going to move it a little bit over here. Let's just move them so that they kind of are in the center of the screen. And you want to leave a little space in between them so that you'll have some, you'll have some extra fabric in there. So make sure you leave a little space. Okay. In there, because you'll need to trim to make a seam allowance. So just leave a little space in there. Move one panel to the right or left so they are side by side. Leave an inch or more in between for seam allowance. So you'll need about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So just make sure you got a little bit of space in there. Okay. So I'm just going to move them apart. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to click OK. Oops, I already clicked OK. Sorry. Now down at the bottom, there's a couple really cool tools. Like here's the select tool. You can select one or the other with these little buttons right here. But if you click on this button, which is the multiple selection key, you can select all. So the red ones are totally confused here. Hopefully when I replay, oh, yeah, it's a little different on your machine, Nancy. I'm sorry. Your machine is just a slightly different, but the buttons are all still there. They're just might be in a slightly different place. So I apologize. So I selected both of those at the same time. So they're both pink, and I'm going to go center so that I got them centered in my hoop. Okay. So that way they're all centered on each other. And I'm going to click OK too. All right. So I think that looks like we're pretty much ready to go. I think, yeah, I think we'll be okay. They look like they're good. And then I'm going to hit embroidery. And I am going to go to layout again. Now remember, we set our basting line to 0. So I'm just going to click on the baseline, and it's just going to go around the area where the little things are. So it's not going to go around the whole hoop this time, but it's just going to go around the middle where the 2 little outlines are. And I'm going to click, I'm pretty happy with it. We'll hit layout again. So here's our basting line, and then here's the first side, and here's the second side. And then I'm going to click memory again, and I'm going to save this one in my machine. Okay. And that is how I made that pillow. So to sew it, we won't sew it tonight, but I'll talk about how to sew it. Those are the 2 pieces you need. So if I go back home here, Second here. If I go back to embroidery and I click my little pocket down here, here's my design. So see, I've got it a couple times because I practiced, you know. So here's my designs here. Okay. And I would sew out each design with the fabric, and I gave you the sewing instructions. So here's the sewing instructions. Okay. And it says the cutting, your center panel and your side panels, you need two 10 by 14 inch pieces of fabric and batting. So you need 2 pieces of fabric, 2 pieces of batting that are 10 by 14. And then you need 2 backs. So on these, I made my backs. I actually made them so you fold them in half so that they're a little thicker. So this one is the original one that I did. So you can see I folded it and made my envelope back double. Okay, just gave it a little more body in the back. I didn't have enough fabric for this one. I really like this fabric and I wanted to use it. So this one I actually cut it and just hemmed it on the one side. So mine are just hemmed, this one. I just figured out how big they needed to be. I didn't have enough fabric to double it. I like the doubled ones. So, okay. So that's all you need for fabric. And then, so to do the center panel, you're going to hoop your no-show mesh stabilizer. Again, where do I get the design and JPEG? Who is that asking that? Oh, you get the design and the JPEG from, you have to go to Sew Along with Jan, the group. Go to the group, Sew Along with Jan, and in the very first post at the very top is going to be the link to the Dropbox, and it's under the sewing part of the Dropbox. That's where you get it. And the design's in there, and so is the JPEG if you want to try it on yourself. So I hoop my no-show mesh in my 8x12 hoop. I place my batting and the piece of fabric. It is in the sewing file, yes, it is in the sewing file, not the software file, Gail. This is not software. This is on the sewing machine. This is in the sewing one. So this is in Sew Along with Jan. Yep. You put the 2 pieces, you put the batting in, and then the batting, and then the fabric, sorry. And then the first thing that sews in the machine, remember, I'll bring it up so you can see it. The first thing that sews in the machine is the basting line. So we're going to sew out that basting line. And then you're going to sew the decorative stitches. And then you're going to sew the moon and back design. Then you're going to remove it from the hoop. I just trimmed mine 1/4 inch away from the basting line all the way around to sew mine. Okay, that's what I did. Then you're going to do the panels the same way. The side panels, you're gonna hoop your 8x12 hoop with no-show mesh stabilizer. I'll bring this up so you can see it. And then I'm going to lay my batting in the hoop and then my fabric on top. And then I'm going to sew out. The first thing it's going to sew out is the basting line. It's going to stitch here around the little panels. And then it's going to sew the decorative design. And then then you take it out of the hoop and you're going to trim 1/4 inch all the way around each one of those little side panels. Okay. And then after you do that, you're going to do after you've stitched everything, you're going to stitch one side panel. Let me pull this up here. I think it might be easier if I switch the cameras. The other one's kind of close, so let me switch up to the other camera here to show you how I sewed it. Okay. All right. So what I did is I sewed, let me get the other one. It doesn't glare as much. It's a little darker. There we go. I sewed these 2 little panels onto the center panel because the panel is actually from here to here. Okay. And then I sewed those 2 little panels on the sides with a 1/4 inch seam. And then I pressed it nice and pressed them open on the back. And then I did my envelope back. I folded them in half with the wrong sides together. And then I laid, the pillow down like this, and I laid my envelope back on top with the raw edges along the edges and the folded ones on the inside. Got it all lined up, pinned, and sewed all the way around the perimeter. Okay, so that's how you do an envelope back. We've done a lot of those, so I think most everybody knows how to do that now. Okay. And then turn it right side out, and this is a 12 by 12 pillow form. Okay, so does the basting show when you sew pieces together? Okay, so what I did is, yes, they can show a little bit. The basting stitches in the machine are a little bit long. They're kind of long stitches, so I did take my basting stitches out. So yes, I took the basting stitches out first. It just depends on how, if you get your seam, like mine are showing a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on here. There's a little bit on the bottom, but the basting stitches on the machine are kind of long, and I often do take them out because they're like, you know, like they're like really long. So I would just take them out. I know I did on this one. So I don't know if you can see it very well, but I know I did. I know I took all the basting stitches out just around the edges where they were going to show. I took them out. So, okay. So yeah, so now does everybody know where to go to get the design? If you didn't have it, you have to go to Sew Along with Jan. This is where all the files are. So if you go get there and get to the Dropbox, you can get all the files that I've ever put up there. Okay. And there's one for the sewing, and there's one Dropbox for the software. Okay. So it's the very top post, and there's a picture that says Dropbox. All right. And so it's the very first post on Sew Along with Jan, and that's where you can get it. Okay. Can you tell a difference where you sewed the border on the sides and the top and bottom was included? Not well, yeah, you can see it, but I don't think it looks bad. Because that's why I put the line across there. I think this one shows up a little bit better. Let me hold this one up. Does this one show up a little bit better? But see, that's why I put the line there, so that it made it look like another border. And yes, it is just a little bit wider. But still think it looks good, don't you? The design is a little bit wider than it is tall. So yes, the borders on the top and the bottom are just a little wider, but I think they look nice. Yeah. I mean, it just makes it look like another border. I remember when I started working with this, I had a really hard time getting this to be straight across the top. And at that time, we didn't have that no-sew option. So I had to really finagle it to make it work. Sew Along with Jan is the Facebook group. So that's where the Dropbox link is. You can also find you will be able to also find the designs. When I post this on YouTube, this video, I will put the link to the designs in the description. But all of the Dropbox files are in that first post on Facebook on Sew Along with Jan. Just go to Sew Along with Jan. The very first post has all of the Dropbox files. You can actually go into Dropbox from that link and then download the whole thing. I mean, there's like stuff from the last 3 years in there, and there's all kinds of really cool stuff in there. So you can do both of them. There's the software one is in there too. So all the software classes, all the stuff, all of the files I ever have uploaded are still up there. Do you know if there is any PDF? Oh, you mean are the instructions in the PDF? Cindy, is that what you mean? These instructions? Yes. Yes, these instructions, I rewrote them. Yes, these are in there too. And then the sewing instructions are the last page. So yes. And then there's a PDF of the I Love You to the Moon and Back. I think I put that in there too. I think. I can't remember, but I think I put that in there too. If not, I just put the JPEG. Okay. So yes, so Sew Along with Jan is the Facebook group. So go to Facebook, search for Sew Along with Jan. It's one of your groups. If you're here right now, you're in the group. So you can find it, okay? It's very first post. But isn't that a cute project? I really love doing these things in the Design Center. And so there's a lot of fun things to do. I've got a couple more to do too. I made this really cute little ironing pad. I don't know if I have it here. We'll do this one too. I haven't done this for a long time. I wonder what happened to my iron. Here's my ironing pad. I made this in the machine in Design Center. It's a little ironing pad. So it's got like the little stuff to iron on. So I can slide this under my hoop. So we'll do this too. This is something else I did in there. That was fun. I've done a bunch of little things in there. So I'd like to get videos of some of those because I did them so long ago. There was no videos. Okay. So now next week, so I expect to see a bunch of pretty pillows or wall hangings or whatever you wanted to make out of this. Okay. So aren't these cute? I had fun doing it, but I could not get over how much nicer. This one glares a little bit more. I'm sorry, guys. On this camera, I couldn't get over how much difference there was in the quality of the stitch out from the original one to this one, because it was so much smoother. But I think it was because the JPEG was so much better. Oh yeah, I thought this would be a really cute thing for. That's why I did this one kind of in baby colors. I wish it showed up better. Maybe if I put the other camera down here, you can see it better. It doesn't show up very well because it's white, and sometimes white kind of glares, you know. So let me change my camera real quick, and maybe you can see it better. But this one's really cute. It's kind of, I got it done with kind of like a light green. It's a little bit better down here, so it's not so shiny. So it's kind of pink here. I did kind of a peachy pink, and then it's like a green, but it's a white background. But I love the backing fabric. I didn't have enough to double it though. So yeah, I just thought these were cute, and it was a fun project to do. And I like doing stuff in Design Center, so we'll do some more stuff in Design Center. I've got quite a few. Somebody said something about variegated. Yeah, it would be. So I thought that'd be cute in that. And then next week is going to be the software class. So we're going to do software, and then we're going to do the home state pillow. Okay. So we're going to make this next week for the software. This will be in Perfect Embroidery Pro. And I thought that was really fun. That was just something I saw, and I thought, you know what, that would be a really cool project. So we're going to make another pillow, but you know, you can make it a wall hanging or something else too. All right. And I thought these would be fun to make, like for wedding gifts or shower gifts or something, just to put the home, you know, put the family name on and put the home state. So I'll talk about the home state, but I just did Iowa. Of course, you know, I live in Iowa. So, but then you can choose whatever state you have, and I'll just tell you how I got them, and we'll do that next week, and that'll be the software class. So, okay. Then we're going to take a week off for Memorial Day. Can you believe it? It's almost Memorial Day already. So anyway, I think that was kind of a fun little project. So I want to bring the camera up so I can say goodbye to everybody. And oops, I have trouble with getting my microphone switched though. There we go. All right. So hopefully I'm sorry about the delay this afternoon or this evening, but we all found each other, so that's always good. And I will see you next week. We'll do some computing. I'm working on another program right now. I'm working on my block piecer. I haven't used that very much, and I really liked it, but I'm having a little trouble with a couple things I wanted to do. So I will we'll have a lot of fun making next week. So okay. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. Does everybody know where to find the design and everything? And it will be on the YouTube video. So some of you watch on YouTube also, and the link will be direct to that on YouTube also. Okay. So I'll put it up there, but I'll have to do that a little bit later tonight. I got to feed my dad first. So, okay. So we're going to go have some supper, and I hope everybody has a good week, and I'll see you next week for some computer software. So thanks everybody. Good night.